Despite a disappointing start, Man United still has many opportunities to salvage the season if they address the following 5 issues. When Rasmus Hojlund sprinted past the opponent's defenders and elegantly scored against Fernando Muslera, giving Man United a lead in the second match of the Champions League group stage, the goal brought hope for a turning point for the Red Devils. However, right after that, Kerem Aktürkoğlu equalized for the visiting team after a very poor defensive organization by the home team, and the nightmare of quickly losing the lead returned to Old Trafford. The nightmare continued with Casemiro's red card, and although Mauro Icardi couldn't score from the penalty spot, shortly after, as if it were meant to be, the Argentine striker redeemed himself with a stylish chip, securing a 3-2 victory for Galatasaray. That's the 6th loss in the last 10 matches for Man United. It should have been the 7th loss if not for Scott McTominay's shining performance, which led to an incredible comeback against Brentford. A top club cannot play in this manner. Fans of every club are allowed to be optimistic, even if it's just a little, before the new season, but the situation at Old Trafford has changed too quickly. Instead of discussing trophies, the main topic surrounding Man United at the moment is a crisis, even though the new season has only entered October. After a relatively positive first 12 months at Man United, coach Erik ten Hag is facing doubts about his ability to revive and restore the Red Devils to their dominant position. At the beginning of the season, Opta's supercomputer assessed Man United's chances of finishing in the top 4 of the Premier League at 63.2%. However, now, with only 12 points from 8 matches, the probability of qualifying for the Champions League next season has dropped to 4%. The supercomputer predicts that Man United is highly likely to finish in 9th place, a scenario no one could have anticipated before the start of the new season. Furthermore, the risk of relegation for Man United, 0.06%, is higher than the chance of winning the league, 0.01%. In the Champions League, Man United's chances of progressing from Group A are only 32.9% after losses to Bayern Munich and Galatasaray. Meanwhile, the probability of winning the prestigious European competition for Ten Hag's team is only 0.45%. So how can Man United salvage their situation after derailing so early? Some of the answers will be found below. 1. Address the injury crisis. The familiar excuse often cited for the decline in form of every football club is the impact of injuries. Every team has to deal with the impact of injuries. Injuries are common in sports, but injuries affecting multiple players in the same position can pose a unique challenge. Liverpool didn't suffer too many injuries in the 2020-21 season, but they lost all of their key central defenders at a crucial time in the campaign. As a result, Liverpool stumbled and almost fell out of the top 4. The issue for Man United currently lies in the left-back position. Coach Ten Hag no longer has any left-backs available. Luke Shaw, Tyrell Malacia, and the makeshift solution Sergio Reguilón are all sidelined. The Dutch coach had to use Sofiane Amrabat in this position, but the make-do solution doesn't match the performance expected from a player like Morocco's international. There are also gaps in the entire defensive line due to injuries to the defenders. The first-choice centre-back pair of Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez has played together for a mere 197 minutes. Right-back Wan-Bissaka has been out of action for almost a month. 2 expensive signings, Mason Mount and Hojlund, have also missed several matches due to injuries. Meanwhile, Antony and Jadon Sancho have had off-field issues. Rarely does any coach have all the options for every position, but if Ten Hag can have at least one option for each position, the Dutch coach can build a more cohesive lineup and instill confidence, especially in the defensive system. 2. Stop relying on the goalkeeper for salvation. Man United has suffered 6 losses in 11 matches in all competitions this season. The Red Devils have also conceded 19 goals, the worst record since the 1966-67 season, 20 goals conceded. These two conditions are closely related. However, blaming goalkeeper Andre Onana for every goal conceded should stop. Even though it cannot be denied that the constant concession of goals immediately after scoring is a consequence of the departure of David De Gea, a goalkeeper who may not be great with his feet but is exceptional in using his hands to make crucial saves, the Spanish goalkeeper continuously bailed out the Red Devils with his impressive shot-stopping abilities, which were unmatched by many of his peers, especially at crucial moments. De Gea's shot-stopping prowess was so impressive that Man United became overly reliant on him. However, De Gea's shot-stopping performance has been declining over time. Onana has made some impressive saves this season, but the new signing from Inter Milan has also conceded a lot of goals. Onana was recruited for his better ball-playing abilities compared to De Gea. Still, with the current situation where Man Utd's goal is constantly under siege, shot stopping is a much bigger issue than developing play from the back. Looking at the statistics, Onana has played in all 11 matches for Man United so far and faced 52 shots on target, conceding 18 goals, excluding own goals. The total expected goals conceded, xGOT, is 16.8. In simple terms, the number one goalkeeper for Man United has conceded more than 1.2 goals beyond what was expected. However, in De Gea's first 10 matches of the previous season, the Spanish goalkeeper also conceded 17 goals after facing 43 shots on target, with xGOT being 14.3, meaning he conceded 2.7 more goals than expected. In the context of the previous season, when Man United played in the Europa League and not the Champions League, Onana's performance is not significantly worse than his predecessor. The Cameroonian goalkeeper hasn't become a hero yet, but the issue lies in the lack of protection from his teammates. 3. Revive Casemiro or switch to Amrabat. One of the reasons for Man Utd's partial revival in the previous season was the presence of Casemiro. The former Real Madrid player brought a winning mentality, a quality that was lacking at Old Trafford. His fierce tackles, crucial goals, and the ability to explode at vital moments are the qualities that the experienced Brazilian midfielder brings to the team. However, this season, Casemiro seems to be losing his spark. Among Man United players who have played at least 5 games this season, Casemiro has the second highest tackle per game rate. On average, he makes 2.9 tackles per game, only behind the expert tackler Wan-Bissaka with 3.2 tackles per game. However, it's worth noting that no one gets dribbled past as often as Casemiro. On average, every 90 minutes, the Brazilian powerhouse gets dribbled past 2.4 times. In the Premier League, only Liverpool's Dominic Szoboszlai gets dribbled past more. Nevertheless, Szoboszlai isn't a defensive midfielder and never plays in the last line of defense. Casemiro's ball retention is also inefficient. Midfielders like Bruno Fernandes, 76%, or Christian Eriksen, 82.9%, may not have particularly high pass accuracy rates, but Casemiro is a deep-lying midfielder with the task of controlling the game and having the highest safety factor in the build-up process. His pass accuracy rate is only 83.4%, which is relatively adventurous. A breakdown of Casemiro's passes in the game against Galatasaray shows that he frequently attempts risky passes, and most of them result in the away team gaining possession. Ironically, Casemiro is effective in goal scoring. Incredibly, the Brazilian midfielder is Man United's top scorer this season with 4 goals, on par with Bruno Fernandes and Scott McTominay. Moreover, Casemiro is the third highest shot taker for Man United with 20 shots, only behind Fernandes and Marcus Rashford. Casemiro's second yellow card in the Galatasaray game came after a desperate attempt to prevent the opposition from scoring following a poor pass by Onana. Perhaps Casemiro found himself in an unavoidable situation in this instance, but the experienced midfielder seemed too hasty and clumsy when deciding to make the tackle. If Casemiro can regain his form from the previous season, it would be a strong boost for Man Utd's revival. If not, Coach Ten Hag may need to consider using a different player in the anchor role. For instance, consistently deploying Amrabat, who brings a lot of energy and tenacity to his natural position. The player loaned from Fiorentina to Man United ranked 3rd in the 2022 World Cup in the number of successful tackles with 16 and led in the number of ball recoveries with 57. Of those, 26 were in the final third, which is also among the highest in the league. In Serie A, Amrabat's pass accuracy rate, excluding dead balls, is also as high as 89.3%, second only to 4 other players. Alternatively, deploying Amrabat alongside Casemiro could provide a more robust midfield presence in terms of defensive duties, while being less dependent on the defensive capabilities of the centre-backs. 4. Help Marcus Rashford regain his form. Speaking of players who need to find their form in the 2022-23 season, Rashford has so far been a shadow of his former self. This forward scored 30 goals from 56 appearances last season out of 167 shots, with an expected goal, XG, rate of 24.3. In the 2023-24 season, Rashford has played 10 games, scoring only 1 goal from 31 attempts with a 2.7 XG. His conversion rate has plummeted alarmingly from 18% to 3.6%. Consequently, the player who averaged a goal every 143 minutes in the 2022-23 season has only managed 1 goal in 831 minutes this season. The serious issue is that Rashford seems to be losing confidence in his finishing ability, which used to be his strength. For instance, in the 53rd minute of the match against Galatasaray, the Man United forward faced the opposition goalkeeper, but instead of shooting, he passed the ball to Bruno Fernandes and let the opportunity slip away. More generally, during the 68 minutes of the game against Galatasaray, Rashford did not manage a single shot. Before that, in the loss to Brighton, Rashford was involved in 8 attacking moves that resulted in Man United shots. In all 8 attacking situations, the forward did not take a shot. Similarly, in the recent game against Brentford, he managed only 3 shot attempts, all of which were unsuccessful. Like Casemiro, it's hard to believe that Rashford has suddenly become a poor version of himself overnight. Therefore, if Coach Ten Hag can help this forward regain his lost confidence, there's no reason why he cannot shine again, much like he did last season. The image of a formidable and clutch forward should emerge once more. 5. Build the game around Hojlund. Man United is currently facing many issues, as discussed earlier, but there is one positive point that should be emphasized: the outstanding performance of Hojlund. His brace against Galatasaray was truly impressive, especially the goal that put them ahead 2-1. Hojlund received the ball from the midfield after a slip by Davinson Sanchez. The forward dribbled the ball in slippery conditions due to a wet pitch, all the way to the opponent's goal, and delicately placed the ball past the goalkeeper. It was a perfect combination of speed, technique, strength, and finesse. Even though Hojlund's brace didn't help Man United secure points, the fault doesn't lie with the Danish forward. Although he hasn't scored many goals to meet the expectations of a big-money transfer, his excellent qualities as a young talent have been on display. Hojlund hasn't scored in the Premier League yet, but if given more opportunities by his teammates, this forward will undoubtedly accept the chance to score. At 20 years and 241 days old when he scored a brace against Galatasaray, Hojlund became the youngest player to score 2 goals on their Champions League debut. With a goal rate of 0.6 goals per 90 minutes, the Danish forward will soon increase his goal tally if he's given enough opportunities. What constitutes enough depends on Coach Ten Hag and his teammates.